All right, you good?
Nice to meet you, Dwayne.
You as well.
This is a treat.
For me too. I'm just starting to do some. Well, I've been doing research for about a year now on this book I'm kind of writing, and I'm finding way more interest in songs I didn't hear back in the '80s and stuff I didn't hear in the '80s. So, and
Did-
sorry, go
Excuse
ahead.
me sorry for interrupting you. So you got a hold of Bernie LaBerge?
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at. It's a long story. I was talking to a guy from Trooper, Frank Ludwig, who worked with Randy Bachman in the '80s, and then somehow got into Bernie, and it's been a little cycle, and it's just fascinating to meet these people who I either barely heard in the '80s. Like I started listening to music in about '83, so
Okay.
because I would have been, I don't know, 13 at the time, and when I started writing this book, what I did was I found a book that has all the songs that made the charts. But then I've
Okay.
been doing research, and there's like, Cashbox magazine, and there's RPM, all these
Yeah.
reviews, and all these bands and songs I never heard of. And I've been fascinated by songs that were amazing that really didn't go out of their area. Like I'm from Saskatoon originally, and like
Okay.
bands like Street Heart, Orphan, like they were bands that were huge in Saskatchewan, but didn't really go out east. And then I'm learning there's lots of bands that were huge in the east that didn't really come out west.
Right, right. Like me. I was huge in the East. I was huge in Europe, huge in the Orient. Not so good, not so big in the West Coast.
Yeah, it's actually interesting how Canada, like lots of musicians I've been researching about, found more success outside of Canada.
Well, that's just the way that, especially in the olden days, it was with Canadians, right? You had to make your I was going to say wealth, but not really your wealth, to get yourself known outside of the country, get yourself liked. So I got my first record deal here in Montreal, and I made my own record company with an investor here in Montreal, and we did a record in Toronto. And we got it. How did we do it? So he invested it his own money, and I produced it myself. And Paul Gross from Phase One Studios actually produced the album physically there in Toronto, and we actually released it in the U.S. We shopped it in Midam. You ever heard of the big film festival, record, a music festival called Midam?
No.
Okay, it's in France. It's called
Oh, cool.
Midam, and it's where all these independents go to shop their deals, right? So we went there, and my partner's wife and he went and shopped the deal, and they got a deal right away. They got it with a very small company called Myris Music, and they were actually where Jane Fonda put out her what is this? I'm so sorry.
Oh, the aerobics.
Yes, aerobics video. So, and that's what Myra's was huge with. So I thought, well, what the heck? And it got me playlist. Being with them got me playlisted all through the US. It was incredible. How many states, country, cities, and as well, it got me playlisted in Europe, especially France. I guess they thought I was French from Quebec, right? Um, and the Orient. It was quite interesting the way it just, and it just sort of snowballed by itself without me being there to support it, which was very interesting.
Yeah, I found there's all information online on you, but then I was looking at the comments on the YouTube clips, and lots of people recognize your songs, even though they're hard to find. And so, anyways, then when I started doing more research before I contacted you and found you, I was looking at like who's who on this, who helped you with this album. Like the people on the musicians here were like future big namers, like
Oh yeah.
Gary Graham would go on to be in Honeymoon Suite, and guys from Rabbit, another band that kind of had a brief popularity and faded as well.
Oh
And
yeah.
uh, and of course Bernie, who is just a fascinating musician.
Oh my gosh, yes.
What I loved
Bernie's a
about these what I loved about
sorry.
these songs were that all of them were rock songs where they really showcased your different styles of your voice.
Yeah,
Because I
thank you.
found somebody on description described you as a little bit Pat Benatar, a little Lee Aaron, a little Patty Smythe. And as I started thinking about it, that's a huge compliment because you don't stand out like one of them. You're a little bit of all. Like I look at the last song, was that my last one called? Runaway. And that's like a
Oh
bluesy track, like way
yeah.
different than the other five in my mind.
And that's really the only one I wrote.
Oh, that's when you wrote. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's it's probably my favorite one on the album because well, I love the blues, and
Yeah.
that one just had some Pat Benatar feel to it, but yet it was really bluesy.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that one. It's too bad that one didn't get released as a single because I mean, I've learned that record labels play such a big deal in making a hit.
Well, that's
And
right. And it was too long for to go on and get on charted, right? It was just too long. It was almost 3 minutes, so it was just too long. It wasn't a
yeah,
1.3 seconds, right?
well, yeah, I look. Well, yeah, I think it's almost 6 minutes with the solo in the
Yeah,
middle there. I don't know,
yeah, no,
and so
exactly.
forth. But
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, I also found that it was really interesting talking to Frank Ludwig. He played with Randy Bachman in the early '80s,
Oh,
and like
fun.
they had like a couple songs that were rising the low charts. Like so, apparently there's two level of charts. There's like mid charts and the big charts.
Hmm.
And it was fascinating how many bands. I'm guessing that's where you got played too. Would get all this radio play, but then couldn't get into the big payola level, right?
No, it's so odd the way that that happens. I mean, who knows if it is actually to use your lingo, payola. I mean, if you have to pay off some people along the way or something like that, and that happened a lot, especially in the 80s. Um, but I don't know exactly what it was. It truly was a mystery. It truly was a mystery, and I was very fortunate, I think, to get charted in so many cities that I was charted in. Yes, that I was played in. Excuse me.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So like when I write the book, well, I am writing the book. I'm on like page 400. But I'm only in 1984 right now. But there was two singles released, and there's
Yes.
"Can't Hold On Forever" and
Hmm.
"Everywhere I Go," both Birdie songs. I noticed.
Yes.
Um, how did those songs come about?
Well, they were both Bernie LaBarge's song. He pitched them to me, and in fact, I think I sang "Can't Hold On Forever" very well. So I really wanted to put that forth as my first single. The second one, I was not in love with, to be honest with you. I knew it would sell because it was very poppy, but it wasn't my favorite song. This is me just being completely honest with you, right? Um, but it did its job. It did very well on the charts. So, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. Didn't know what I was talking about. And
Well,
Bernie, of course, both of them.
it's
Excuse
funny
me.
you should say that because of the six songs, "Everywhere I Go" is by far the only popish song, really.
Yes,
The
yes,
rest are rock songs,
yes,
and then you got the bluesy one at the end there. Like I think of "Headache" by that Gary Graham wrote as being I would have been a maybe a big hit at the time, or maybe a year later. It feels like maybe that this album came out maybe a year too early. Um,
yes.
because I mean, I listened to "Headache" and that or "Heartache." I typed "Headache" on the one side, "Heartache," and it just sounds like a song that Honeymoon Suite would have recorded on their New Girl Now first outline or first album,
Yeah.
right?
Well, think of the timing of that closeness between he playing with me and Honeymoon Suite. He left me to play with Honeymoon Suite, so maybe the two crossed over a little bit. Maybe he had that song in his back pocket and it's just switched it over to Honeymoon Suite, right? There was
Yeah.
that. Honeymoon Suite is Derry, really. I mean, it's more than Derry, but it is his band. I know that. So perhaps that song had been brewing in his pocket for a while, and he went, "Oh, look at this! Let's put it forth." Just because it sounds a bit like Lisa's song, whatever. He didn't do anything with Lisa, so let's see now. And I mean, he did well with it, so we know that. So
Yeah, well, he went on to do pretty big things, and I get to see them live every once in a while. But what I found interesting was that the songs had a similar style in regards to um, mid-tempo verses, often with like a really rock chorus, and then always allowing your musicians to have that showcase as well. And for a solo artist, that's really interesting to allow the whole band to be showcased.
to me, that was so important because although I loved singing and I think I was very talented and I thought that I was, I really, really, really felt I don't want to talk myself down, but I really didn't want to steal the show, so to speak. I didn't want to be Lisa Price. I had so much talent with me. I wanted to showcase the talent. I wanted to give those guys an opportunity to show everyone their chops because boy, I had some great talent with me. So if that answers your question.
Yeah, well, that really was a who's who of the time of session musicians that would mostly go on to do more session work, or obviously Gary
Definitely.
went on to bigger things, chart wise at least. But I really felt that I've listened to all Honeymoon Suite stuff. I have all of them in one way or the other, and I still think one of his best solos he ever did was in Heartbreak. Like
Oh,
that was a great solo.
oh
And
my gosh. Yeah. Yes, yes, me
but
too.
I guess the other question, the one question I have is who were you who influenced you before you got into music?
As far as the singing is concerned, or
Yeah,
band.
or both actually, I guess. But
Oh, okay. Hmm. Interesting question because I remember when I was very young. I've been singing since I was a child, by the way. I was in operettas all my life when I was really, really young. So then it was operatic music. Not operatic, like um I'm called little I can't even think of the name of the oh dear me, am I mortified now. Um I'll come back to this.
that's
But so
okay.
I'm really embarrassed. Excuse me. But I've been singing. So Elton John was my first really big rock star. I'm like, oh my goodness, James. Yeah, Elton John was. Um, now I don't know if you can see the color of my face is purple. I'm so mortified. Excuse me.
Oh, it's forget. I forget things. I teach high school. I'll walk downstairs to the office. I forget why I went downstairs to the office. So
And why am I here?
yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, now I'll go back upstairs and remember, and go back downstairs and usually remember the second time. But
What grade do you teach?
grade 12.
Oh wow, wow, that must be hard.
Actually, no, I teach history and English and leadership and creative writing. So
Oh,
it's
good for
actually quite a bit
you.
of fun.
Oh, good for you.
Oh,
Congratulations. Congratulations on that. My sister has her master's in creative writing. She got that at Concordia.
oh,
She's
that's
a
cool.
brilliant, brilliant girl, yes. Brilliant.
Yeah, I have lots of fun teaching that class because it's an elective, so kids who take it want to be there.
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's a nice
That's the
class,
fun
and
thing.
we have lots of fun.
Yeah.
Um, we actually we'll analyze lyrics later on, and I treat poetry and lyrics the same. So kids
Oh,
often don't
fun.
like poetry, but like lyrics. So I point out that they're just the same, and then they start thinking differently about it. So that's kind of cool.
Well, good
So
for you. Nice way to
so
turn them on to writing. That's a great way to do it. Thank you. Sorry, I'm
so
cutting you off.
no, it's okay. I so the album came out, and what a witty title, calling it Priceless. That was pretty witty. Um, and then you haven't released anything since. So one question on YouTube was what happened to Lisa
What
Price? So
happened to me?
I'm going to
Yeah,
ask the
I just
question.
dove into the ocean. Well, in as my album was being released, um, I just started getting a little bit weird, and I ended up getting going to the hospital. I had an illness, and it was a big illness. I had no idea, and it was a year-long recovery. So had a whole tour lined up, worldwide tour. I was opening for Hard and Eddie Money. It was this great big thing. It
Oh
was
wow!
my big break. Yahoo! And I couldn't do it. I was sick. So that's why you don't hear me. I was supposed to go right into the studio and do an album, a full length album. Right away. We had all the songs done. It was ready to go, and I just could not do it. I physically was sick. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. That's the reason why you didn't hear back from me. It took me 3 years to learn how to walk and talk all over again, and that was the end of my career. And the only thing I could not do after those 3 years was sing. I had a condition called diplocusis, where it was, if I heard the note E in this ear, it was a note B flat in the other ear. So it was impossible to reproduce a note on key. So now that condition is gone. So if I wanted to get back to do it, I could. It's kind of those days we've been there, been there, seen it, done it. You know what I mean?
Right,
And I'm very, very fortunate that I've had this album in my pocket. And I think that yeah, that's it. That's the story.
well, I'm sorry to hear that. That's really tough because we're right at the peak of you. What it could have been a huge career. I mean, opening for Hart and Eddie Money, they were both pretty big at in
Yeah.
'83, and Hart would go huge a couple of years later when.
No, exactly.
That album
It's
came out.
very, very exciting to me and very heartbreaking, of course, as one can imagine. As a young kid, it was like, why are you serious? Come on. But anyway, I'm very much a fatalist and feel that everything happens for a reason. So it happened for a reason. And I'm still here. So I
Well,
think
yeah, I
that's
mean, in
what
the end, that's you get to still live your life and so forth. Like, how
that's
you were
right.
what? How old were you? Like 20, 21 in
When
83,
that happened, no, I was 22 when that
22.
happened. Yes.
Well, that's
So
very
so
young to have
yeah, very, very.
such a
Yeah.
situation.
Yes.
Are you? Did I read right that you were born in France? Did I read that right?
No, that's funny. With that, I see that all written all the time. No, but my father was in the Air Force, so I was born in Chatham, New Brunswick, which is even not even a town now. It's called. Oh, anyways, Chatham, New Brunswick. We moved right away to the West Coast to Cold Lake, Alberta, close to where you live. And then from Cold Lake, we moved to Metz, France. No, we moved to Zweibrück in Germany, from Zweibrück into Metz, France, from Metz, France to St. Hubert. So all of my schooling has been in Quebec. We
Hmm.
moved here in Expo 67. So I did all of my schooling from kindergarten to graduation here in Quebec.
Oh, cool.
So that but that's the Metz France thing that we went over there with Daddy.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's like little pieces of stories online, but
Yeah.
not a
Well,
heck
he
of a
was a
lot. So good to clear that up. I
he was
loved Quebec. I was only there for about a week. I don't know, a couple of years before COVID. I at a teachers
oh,
conference went to Quebec City first with my wife for a few days, and I had meetings in Montreal. But she got to travel Montreal. I stuck in meetings. So
oh,
that's
too
next year or
bad.
two. That's our plan to go back out there.
Oh, it is. I love this province. I truly do. It's really truly my home, and I keep coming back here. But I love it. And I'm fully bilingual. I've made it my mission to be bilingual. Otherwise, why would I stay here, right? I'd be missing half the boat.
Yeah, yeah, really. I can count to 8 and say bad words in French. I think still. Let's.
Well, that's fine. At least you can do that. All right.
uh, so you mentioned that you got your voice back eventually. Have you ever thought about just going back and looking at the songs that you didn't record and doing anything with those?
Um, yes, I do, but I'm also because I'm very much of a fatalist. I sort of feel like I'm barking up a wrong tree. It's sort of been there, seen it, done it, and let's just let it go. And I'm on to other things right now. And what you asked me, what, and I'm just sort of into very many artistic endeavors. I'm still very artistic, but they're not singing.
So what are
I
you doing
still,
nowadays?
well, I'm well, so for a while I was doing helping working with seniors. Um, and then I do painting. I do all sorts of things like that. I mean, I don't know if I'm making myself clear, but artistic endeavors. Let me put it that way. Yeah, yeah. And when I said my condition's gone, it's not really gone. I mean, I is it is. I think that it could be gone if I super, 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 super practiced. I mean, I know that if I sat with a machine and I can see my biofeedback and watch my notes and I see my notes, I can fix it. But if I don't do that, I can't fix it. I can't hear myself singing flat or sharp. So it's
Mm.
not really gone, my condition. So, it's to be working with a negative uh, influence all the time is not so healthy. If you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I have Barrett's syndrome, and which is just stuff in your esophagus from years. And I got surgery and it's all done, but I have to go back 6 months every 6 months, rest of my life to make sure it goes away or stays away. So it's gone, but it's not really completely gone.
Yeah, there you go. So
So
so that's me. That's me too. But and so I sing in my car. I
yeah.
blast the music and I'll sing, and no one can hear me, so I know if I'm flat or sharp, who cares, right?
Yeah, well,
And
I sing in my car too, and I definitely know I'm not in tune. My wife points it out when she's in the car, but she's not in tune either, so it works out well.
that was cute.
Um,
Very cute.
yeah, this is funny that you talk about Phaelus because talking to Bernie, he has a whole album of one song that he got different people to play blues for, like do different guitar solos for it, and he
Hmm.
hasn't released it yet. And other Frank Ludwig has an album out who I talked to who used to be in Trooper, and because they say a similar thing, it's just the music industry has changed so much now
Oh,
that
yes.
to make money on it, you're not making it on your new songs. You're not making it on your zero point zero 0.02 cents on Apple. You're making it touring. But
That's
even
a
that
joke.
industry is hit and miss now.
I'm sorry, that's a joke. I mean, how do you make money touring? How does one make money when you're touring? There is no possible way. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You
unless you're
know
the
what I mean?
Taylor Swifts of the world, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So no, so I'm quite happy that my experiences in the music industry were in the early 80s because the music scene was still really good. I love the music that was coming out then. It was right before the big disco scene, which I don't want to diss anything because everything has its merit, but it's not my thing. And I loved my scene. I love that scene. Um, and I'm not battling the scene that's going on right now, which I think would be really hard thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Being successful now is way more hit and miss than it was before. At least in the old days, you could kind of build up, in the bar scene and so forth. I've seen lots of bands that did that. Did I read one more thing online? I read. Did you sing backup for Godot? Godot?
no, no,
No.
that's
No.
that's interesting. No, I didn't. But that I wonder where you read that. No, but I want to ask you, and I can't believe I'm asking you this because I can't remember their names, but they're just so amazing. There's three girls that sang backup on my album, and it's in one of the little interviews that you can read about me, and they're amazing. Shauna was one of her names. You just wanted to look into that because they are amazing, and I still think that they're singing, doing backups on people's albums. They're three black women. They're just stunning and amazing. So just keep that in the back of your mind there, Summer.
I have to look that up. That's all I would do now in my free time is research. Um, and now I'm finally getting to the point where I can do more writing because I just keep finding new singers or new songs I hadn't heard of. I'm like, oh, rabbit hole time. And and then I start to try to find the person and the events and sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But yeah, like I mean, back just because I want to in the book I'll write about these two songs. Can't Hold On Forever. Um, you did mention that was you thought that was the first single, and definitely it has that first single feel to it. What did you like about that song at the time, or and so forth?
I like the melody of the song. And I like the fashion, the way that it keeps moving up and down is ridiculous. But I love the melody of the song. I love the way that it let my voice soar. I love the song. I just love singing it. So I guess that was why out of the whole album, that was my favorite song to sing. Vernon. So I said that's the one I wanted to be my single. And so it worked out that it was. It did very well as such. So I don't hope that answers your question.
Yeah, because that is I love that song. And it's a unique one because it has a little bit of synth at the beginning and of course I'm assuming Bernie's playing guitar on that one. I'm assuming and
Yeah.
uh and then like I said it I like that you mentioned the up and down pace because the verses are kind of mid tempo and the chorus is like really rock, back to mid tempo verses rock, and then you got that pretty lengthy guitar solo. Like for a radio single, I think the solo
Yes.
was like 40-45 seconds, which is super rare at this time frame in music.
Yeah. You're right.
Which
That's why I really liked it.
I really loved it. And that song also has great backing vocals. So it's cool that you mentioned those three ladies because um, I found that the backing vocals were always in the background a little bit, which is the point of it. But that one that they really showcased and balanced your voice.
Oh, well, they were amazing. And I kept telling them how, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, well, I can't speak. I am embarrassed here, but I was so honored to have them play on my album. Little Lisa was my first EP. Like, oh my, and these are seasoned backup singers that play on everyone's album, right? And they do everything. So I was, because you should have heard them singing with them. They were just like this ball of beautiful harmony coming. It was just amazing. The three of them. You're going to have to look them up. I'm sorry, I forgot their name. I remember one name, Sheena. I forget the other two. Gonna have to find them because
Yeah,
they're
I know in
amazing.
one of the summaries of who's on the band, I'm sure it says their names. I also, when I go to either Edmonton or Regina, I'll try to find the actual LP because I have
There
to
you
have the
go.
LP. So I'll have
Oh
to find
yeah.
that eventually. Lloyd doesn't have a place, and I went to Saskatoon. My parents live there a couple weeks ago, and the one record store there doesn't have much
Yeah.
stuff. But Regina and Edmonton both have great
There you
record
go.
places. So, um, yeah. So
I haven't been out there in a long time. What's your weather there like now?
well, this last week and a half, it's been gorgeous.
Oh, really?
It was minus 52 on one day, and then 2 days later it was plus three.
Okay. Kind
So of
of like
course
us
everybody
here.
gets sick because such a dramatic change in the weather. It was cold
Yeah.
during my whole spring break, and then got nicer when we got back to school,
Of course.
which is just the
Of
way it
course.
works. So we're getting a little melting every day here, but we still have a lot of snow this year. So,
Yeah. Oh, did
but
you? Us too. We had a huge dumping the other day. Well, so we have for now. We have well for us. I mean, because we used to historically have a ton of snow all the time, and then within the last 10 years, not so much. Where sometimes we even have green showing through. It's like, oh, I hate that because then you know what happens is ice. You're always on ice, right? And I feel like that the snow insulates it a little bit. Anywho, so
yeah, that's been
now we have.
our weather's been terrible in the guards. We'll get really cold, then it will get a little plus, so it melts. We've had ice like all winter. It's been my kid hit the ditch going to Saskatoon one day or this year, and luckily nothing bad. But first time he hit the ditch, and he got pretty
What's
scared.
it's
But
a
then it was
scary
that
thing.
day it was plus three or something, but
Oh,
icy as heck on the highway.
oh, jeepers,
So,
scrapers. Well, I'm
but
looking out the window now, and the snow is up to my window, so that's probably about 5 feet tall. And so that's pretty tall. My
that's more
snowbank
snow
is
than we have.
on my
Probably about
snowbank.
3 feet, I'm guessing.
Oh no, it's tall. The snowbank is probably seven. It's just we have a lot of snow this year, which I like actually. I don't mind that. Yeah,
I don't mind the snow. It's the minus 40s for 2 weeks straight. I
yeah.
can live without.
Me too. We just came off a week of that. Not minus 40, but minus 30. So
Yeah. So whole while we get the living in Lloyd for some reason they didn't think about putting trees up when they first settled here 100 years ago. So it seems like it's always windy, nice out,
oh,
warm out, cold out, windy. But I'll retire in a couple of years and we'll probably head back to Saskatoon eventually because that's where I'm from. So
so
and my
you're in
wife.
Edmonton. You're in Edmonton. What you said that,
I live
right?
in Lloydminster, which is it's a border. We're
Oh,
right in the border of Saskatchewan, Alberta. Actually, I live in Saskatchewan but
okay.
teach in Alberta.
Okay.
So I'm
Neat.
2.5 hours from Saskatoon and 2.5 hours from Edmonton.
Oh,
So, but
cool.
most of our family lives in Saskatoon, so we spend more time there. Edmonton's more of a
Nice.
treat, so we do that during Easter break or something. But
Congratulations. I love our country. I think we're so lucky to be in it, you and I.
well,
All my family does.
yeah, and that's I mean, and that's everything that's going on in the world right now just makes it more like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
I order my I'm a rum drinker and I order my rum from Lunenburg in Nova Scotia.
Oh my gosh, I love Nuremberg so much.
Funny you say that. So I told my wife when I retire because I'm retired before her. I might just spend a year in Lunenburg, finish my book out there, and
Oh,
they have a used
cool.
bookstore beside ice cream, homemade ice cream beside a rum distillery. I'm like, that seems like heaven to me.
No,
So,
yeah, no kidding. Oh, I could marry Lunenburg. My friend, what did she had her whole life with her. She comes from a family of nine children. Her father, um, had a summer place, um, east, no, west of Lunenburg's, but in the west of Digby on that coast. So what's that called? That body of water, the Bay of
that's a
Fundy,
bit funny. Yeah.
right? So, oh my gosh, beautiful, 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 beautiful spot. And her whole family lived there she grew up there every summer. So she, as a friend, and I went to school with her. I've known her all my life. So I kept going there. It's very close to Lunenburg. So that we take little trips to Lunenburg, go visit my friend Jill and take little trips to see my friends in Lunenburg. I could retire there in a
For sure.
heartbeat.
It's one of the
Yeah.
nicest places I've been to. We really enjoyed Lunenburg and then PI. We only were in Prince Edward Island for the day, but we really liked Charlottetown. Felt like my type of city, small but yet vibrant.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes,
enjoyed
yes, yes.
Halifax as well, actually,
Yeah,
but
I agree. I love Halifax. The one thing about those three cities is they're not that warm in the summertime. They're a little bit frigid.
oh, if we got lucky then, because we went there, was Halifax was 41 or something crazy when we were in Halifax. It was the year before the summer before COVID hit, I guess. But yeah, my wife thought it was a little too hot at times. My wife has that really window, like 23 is good, 25 is too hot, 22 is too cold. It's a pretty narrow window of weather happiness for her. But
Well, that's interesting. That's good. She knows what she likes.
yeah, well, and you learn over time. And so we were
Yeah.
talking about going to Vegas, I think last summer. We're like, okay, no, it's gonna be 102 degrees. She'll be miserable. So I think we're thinking Vancouver this summer, but we'll see. We are gonna do New York
Oh, that's
originally, but with
fabulous.
all this stuff going on, we're like, no, we'll just stay in Canada this year, and we're hoping to do Italy next summer. So
Oh, lucky devil, that'd be fabulous. If you want to just get back to my record a little bit, I'd just like to talk about John Albini, who's a
yeah,
guitar player from Rabbit. He's an amazing, amazing dude, eh? And he's living now down in the US now. And he just started playing again for years of going into retirement, didn't pick up his axe, and now he has been working on amazing Mustangs, rebuilding Mustang cars,
really.
and doing a really good job. But he just picked up his axe again, just. I mean, when I say just, I mean it's over the last week. But just to tell him that he's back out of it again, which is great because I love John. He's an amazing player.
Well, he played the guitar on the Runaway, right?
Yeah.
Was that John?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I actually review Rabbits on in my book. So
Um,
they
he's
had one
great. I
single that
love
reached, and
John.
then a couple other really good songs. So yeah, actually, I found their album on when I was in Regina, I think last summer. Because yeah, they were a great rock band, but like most Canadian
Oh,
bands, they have two or three albums and then they disappear.
yeah, well, because there's no way that we can't we have no money to support us, no population to support us, right? Unless we're picked up by the Americans or a European company to help us tour, we're dead. There's just no money, right? So
Yeah, well, and like I said, maybe just a year too early or two, because I like much music comes out in what 80, late 80, early 84,
yeah,
and like music videos really there's some bands that were big because of music videos, some who shouldn't have been but had good
yeah.
music videos, right? And so I think a lot, I think your songs, I think of um Rabbit as well, and many others that if they had a video to go with their tracks at the time where you're getting coast to coast exposure,
Mhm.
right? Because they rely on radio stations playing it. And how does a Saskatoon radio station even hear about Terry Price in 1983,
Mhm.
right? But video would have did that,
Mhm. Mhm.
hopefully.
Well, MTV picked me up and put me on heavy rotation. What year was that? It would have been 83, I guess, the year it came out. And it did. That's what I think got me playlisted mostly was that yeah, MTV had me in heavy rotation, which is pretty darn cool.
That
And I
is
have
very
one.
cool. Yeah.
It was one little video that's actually what sold me, got me the record deal. So it was a little video that I put together. It wasn't even a great video. Well, you should see it. Like, anywho, it's embarrassing that it did, but it got me playlisted and it got me on MTV in heavy rotation. Like, holy crap!
Well, a lot of
But
those
anyway,
early videos in the 80s were
yeah,
cheesy in today's world.
they were
But
all cheesy.
yeah, I tried finding the video on YouTube, and I'm guessing it's not out there anywhere. But
And I don't know how we're gonna how it is because Jim my hubby was trying to find it today and I don't think it's released. I don't know how that I think that I could probably get it set up and send it to you or something, because I have a copy of it myself and I can
well, if you
copy
could,
it.
that'd be awesome. I'd
Like
love to
if I
see
could,
it.
I would do that to you. And so I just get it through to you on this link here?
Yeah, I did see my email there, or you could the email I gave you. You could send it to that one.
Okay.
And we also keep in touch on Facebook too, because I'm on there lots and so forth. We only have
Sure.
about 3 minutes left. Anything else you want to share to your fans? Which I think you probably have more than you know you have based on my research, or maybe you know you have lots of fans. But there's lots of people who are wondering about you. So anything you'd like to say to them, or anything else?
Well, I don't want to be presumptuous. No, to be honest with you, no, because no, I don't. I want to say I don't want to be highfalutin and say thank you for being supportive and waiting for me. No, you know what I mean? I don't want to
Yeah.
be like that. Um, but I guess I should, if anyone is actually wondering, thank you for wondering if I'm alive. I am alive. And thank you. And I'm great.
Well,
Life is beautiful.
I appreciate that. And I think, like I said, you on YouTube, the people who are writing on there and like these songs are amazing. How do they do better? And especially Can't Hold On Forever. There's like over 30 comments on the one video. The three that song's on YouTube 3 different times by 3 different people, and each have different comments.
That's
And
great.
actually, all 6 songs have comments. The other one, Headache or Heart, I keep playing Headache for some reason, but Heartache gets lots of comments as well, and so does Runaway.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's great.
well, thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you very much for taking interest.
Well, like I said, I love the album. Can't wait to actually get on vinyl because it always sounds better than it does on YouTube.
Well, it
And
always will. I don't understand it, but it really is weird how that works. Because
I don't
CDs are,
understand it either, but it sure does. I'm a big Chicago fan, and
oh,
putting their first album with all the horns,
wow.
didn't know I never heard it properly until I got a nice vinyl player and the sound system go with it. So, but again, thank you for your time,
Yeah, my
uh,
pleasure.
and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Dwayne. Have a really great rest of your day. And thanks for this. It's been so much fun taking me down memory lane.
Awesome. I enjoyed it
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Teacher.
Okay,
How are you?
Dwayne.
Excellent. How are you?